Good, I guess almost noon. This is Micah Mitchell with Madison County Weather Updates. I'm doing this video from work. I'm taking my allotted break, and I figured I would use it to do a little bit of an update on what's going on with the weather. So I'll have to make this one kind of brief. But I want to take a look at this is from the College of DuPage Next Lab page. This is the satellite, and it's got the cape put on it. For some reason, its cape is disappearing as it gets to the later part. But let's go back to here. So this area right in here is high cape. Cape is convective available potential energy. That's the energy that's being supplied to storms, to fuel storms. Along that same corridor, we've got a lot of high dew point coming in, and we've got temperatures that are soaring, surface temperatures. So those will all work to fuel storms later on in the day. One of the things I kind of want to point out that you'll kind of see on this is if we move in this cluster right here, this is what came through earlier, and you see that they're outside the high cape areas. What happens is the atmosphere is trying to balance itself. You got all this energy coming in, and then right on the fringe of it where it can start to disperse some of that energy is where we're getting these storms. That later on will become the focal point again around the perimeter of the cape areas is where storms will begin to fire up again here in a little bit. So and some of this cape, it takes like, don't quote me on these numbers, I'm trying to pull this out of the top of my head, but something around 250 to 300 kilojoules per, or joules per kilogram. I think that's what it is, but cape around 250 or 300 to fuel storms. They can become pretty juicy above 750, and when you look at some of these cape values that are down here, when I get this layer to come back on, I mean, you got 4,000. So there's a lot of energy to fuel these storms here later on, especially as the sun comes out. This afternoon gets really hot and humid. So I was looking at some of these forecast models which failed. The high resolution models did not do well with this morning. And in my post late last night, I kind of forewarned that was possible, even though they were in agreement with each other. There was just a lot of uncertainty, and sure enough, this morning it overproduced. Even as it was falling apart, it still produced some decent rain and thunder. So I kept looking at these models, and they didn't really want to produce anything this afternoon and evening. They wanted to wait till the overnight. So I checked, and I kept thinking that just did not seem right with what's available. So I actually checked with the National Weather Service, who very courteously answered me back and verified that the severe threat is still there. So despite what these models were trying to do, the threat was still there. So now the later suites have come in, the 12Z, and I'm looking at the NAM Nest, which did the best with this morning, even though it still didn't quite hit it. And around here's about 5 o'clock this evening, you can see that it starts to blow up. Let me go over here to Pivotal Weather because you can see a little better close up. But right about 5 o'clock, it begins to initialize storms in kind of north central Madison County. I think this is probably a reasonable scenario. You move out to the next hour, they're already starting to blow out of the southern part by 6 o'clock, and then as we progress into the evening, you see it kind of continues to build some storms back up as we get late in the evening. This is around 10 o'clock. So and then the storms would just kind of come in little clusters and waves overnight. And so by the time it's all said and done, and Kristen and I were talking about this earlier. Kristen felt like Anderson and South was going to be the focal point for heavy rain. I agree with her, and sure enough, now the NAM is picking up on that, and you'll see there's a major cutoff. You get up around Elwood, there's maybe a half inch or so. By the time you get to Anderson, and of course this is just a model output, this is not guaranteed. but it's, wanting to put down 2 to maybe even 3-4 inches of rain in the southern half of the county. Is that going to happen? Not necessarily, but it is very possible with the amount of moisture that's available for these storms. And it's cranking out 5-6 inches of rain for some areas farther to the south. But the thing I want to draw your attention to is the sharp cutoff, where the southern part of the county could get dumped on yet again, while the northern part of the county doesn't see a whole lot more rain this evening. That's not locked in stone. Our county is 30 miles from north to south, so if you've got data that's split in the county, 15 miles north, everybody gets heavy rain. 15 miles south, everybody gets next to nothing. So it's very tight gradient. As always, it seems like we're always at the focal point of this. But right now, I feel like once we get to late afternoon, as severe threat is still on the table, it will start to, storms will begin to pop up. And no guarantee that they'll hit us, but they are possible. So if you're doing anything outside, you need to be aware. You need to have somewhere that you can get to very quickly if some of these storms pop up, because what does pop up late this afternoon and early evening is likely to be severe, and it's likely to pop up quickly. So we'll update as things start to develop. If they start to develop, it's possible we get through the afternoon and evening and don't have anything. Very possible. It's just one of those setups when these convective things, you just don't really know. So we'll try to keep you updated, but I just want to kind of give you some thoughts here around noon on what's possible, what we're seeing. We do think that we are in for some more weather this evening and overnight, and just a matter of when, where, and how much, and we won't know that until nature decides to unload. So again, we will update later on. In the meantime, this is Micah Mitchell with Madison County Weather Updates. Stay safe, and thank you.